Okay, we move on. Now we're going to model the leg, and the leg is relatively straightforward. And there are only a couple of little things that are making it a little bit harder, which there is a round thing that happens kind of like a cylinder from the front view, and there are two of them. So we're trying to model the two of them, um, each one, and then we're gonna just one of them, and then we're gonna mirror it to the other side. So let's see how we can do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to build, actually modify, seems that the bottom of our object of the torso needs some work, but let's do the leg and then we figure out the torso. So I'm going to create another cube, start from a cube, and the cube, I'm going to move it to be at the center where that leg kind of pivots. So because there is a guide there, the guide is the pivot point of that object. So I'm going to just scale that up. So like that. Let me just change this one to be the orthographic side view. That way I can place it where it needs to go. There is my guide in the center right there. And I'm going to just scale it up a tiny bit more so that I can match that object. I need to narrow it down a tiny bit here. Okay, so that object is a cylinder. It's not a cube. If I press 3, this will look like a sphere. So I need to do something, and that is I'm going to divide that object in 4 so I have a bit more information. So I'm going to do it manually here. I'm going to use my multicut tool. I better go to my toolkit, multicut tool. I'm going to press 4 on my keyboard so I can see through. I'm going to put my control key, and then I'm going to insert one right in the center of there to where my axis is. I'm going to put another one right there, so that makes it there, and I will change the shape if I go 5 on my keyboard to switch, and I press 3 again. It starts looking like a cushion, like a squarish cushion, which is not exactly what we needed to do. I'll go back to 1 again, and this time I'm going to select my edge. I'm going to grab the corners. So I'm going to bring them in by using the scale tool. This is my scale tool. Let me go to the side view one more time. Actually, let me change this one for a moment to the side view. So I have my perspective there to look at it. And I'm going to scale down this one and in that one, so that it starts looking a bit more like a semi-cylinder. So I press 3 on my keyboard. It looks a bit better. It's not quite, but a little bit better. What that's doing is actually, if I press 1 on my keyboard again, I need to keep them exactly, not exactly, but a little bit outside of the circle. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other ones that I created. I'm going to scale them out and put them outside of the circle that I'm looking at my drawing, so that way I can control them. Notice I'm doing it in Z, and I'm doing it in Y. And if I press 3 on my keyboard, I can sort of control the look of the circle a bit better. Alright, so if I press 1, that's what it's looking like. So let me go back and try to change this one to be the front view. And that seems okay. The leg kind of widens toward the bottom, but I'll fix the original shape, the main shape first, and also goes inside to the right a little bit. Let me just select my object, and I'm going to make it a little bit wider. I'm going to move it inwards a little bit. It's almost like there is another piece right there that we need to build. Okay, so that one is sort of okay. The top part can be improved, and we're gonna fix it when we have the full leg done, because right now it is not fully ready to do that thing. Alright, so let me go to the side view here one more time, and I'm going to start thinking of How am I going to extrude that object, that leg down, trying to maintain the curvature that it has here? The first thing is saying, okay, well, it needs to extrude down from here, not from that corner. So I can try, see what it does by grabbing, let me go to the perspective view one more time here. I'm going to grab this face, that one and that one, that's the same as if you click here, and I'm going to extrude those down to see if that gives me the result that I want. So I'm going to press on my extrude tool, and I show like that. If I extrude and move the tool now, they were going to go outwards, and I don't want that. I want it to go down, so I'm going to actually go to the perspective view one more, to the side view one more time. And instead of going outwards, I'm going to change the tool after I extrude it to the move tool. So I'm going to move them down. So you see what it's doing, it's extruding from those two faces down. And now I'm going to go back to the perspective view one more time. Bring this edge up so that it sort of looks flat there. Roughly, I can fix it when I extrude it again. But now, let me go back to the side view one more time. I'm going to press 4 on my keyboard so I can see the silhouette of the object. So you see it right there. I need to move those guys back. So let me try doing that. I'm going to grab all those vertices. That's going to change the circle a little bit, but it's going to probably be better. Move it back to try to match the shape of the leg. I'm going to use the scale tool to scale down a tiny bit, so that way it does it that way. So let me go to the perspective view one more time. I hit 5 on my keyboard, so it did a little bit of that. If I press 3, it doesn't look like it at all. I press 1, it goes back to the raw, and it roughly does what it needs to be doing. So I'm going to finish the foot, and then I'm going to go back and tweak the quality of the final look of it. Let me change this one to the side because the front is not doing much to me, and I need to work on the side. So I have those there. Let me verify that these guys are flat. I'm going to grab this edge here, or this vertex better. I'm going to bring it up so that way it looks a lot flatter. And I'm going to grab those two faces and I'm going to extrude them one more time so I can bring them down to the bottom of the foot. And now we're simply going to extrude the front. Extrude this one so that it goes out like that. So we roughly have the shape. Roughly. There are things that don't match quite right. So for the 3, they look like a cushion. It doesn't look like me to, but we know what we need to do. First of all, I'm going to correct a few things. I'm going to correct these vertices. I'm going to bring them down a tiny bit so that they match a little bit better. I'm going to use my move tool. I press W to call the W tool, the move tool, and keep it there so that it matches a bit better there. So if you press 3, it's not there yet, but it will be. So now, what do I need to make this part sharper? I need to insert another edge here so it helps that transition to do that. So let's do that. Multi-cut tool. I'm going to use the control key on my keyboard and click. I'm going to hit 3 on my keyboard, and that sort of did a little bit of it, not quite perfect yet. Alright, so I'm going to go now and do the same thing at the bottom. Press 3. It's looking a little bit better there. And then I'm going to do another one right here. Press 3. Looking a little bit better. Not too bad yet. Not completely there yet. I'm going to press on this one. Much better, but the front doesn't look right. Press 1 to see it. So of course I need to do it on this direction. And there, right there too. So if I press 3, that starts looking more like what I was trying to do. Now, I can try to sharpen it some more by just moving some vertices and inserting some extra edges. For example, I can try to insert an extra edge here to try to fix this more manually. It won't be perfectly circular, but more manually. So that makes it a bit more squarish, but that allows me to create these 2 points here that I can start bringing down. Notice how I'm selecting all of them on both sides. So I'm going to bring those down a tiny bit so that I can use my drawing. I'm going to grab all these guys again and push them in a little bit so that I can fix my drawing. The cool thing about polygons is that they are very forgiving, and since we're working not for manufacturing but for good looking models, we can cheat, which is awesome. Alright, so we have that, and that foot is pretty decent already. So what I need to do now is that you need to, if you feel that it's not sharp enough, just simply grab the edges and try to generate, bring them closer to the edge a bit more, so that you try to sharpen the edge there. Press 3 on your keyboard, and that sharpens it up a little bit more. If you're not happy with the way it looks, we can do another trick, which is adding an edge right on this side. The only problem with that is that we cannot use the multi-cut, because the multi-cut would, if I do multi-cut, it's going to go all the way up, and it's going to change my profile of the curve there. I don't want that. So we're going to do a different trick. We're going to use the multi-cut tool, yes. Let's do it with one. That way we're going to cut from here all the way up to here. And that's good. And now we're going to go around the circle, ignoring this angle here we don't have. We're going to click right there. And same here. So I have it right there. I'm going to hit enter. I need to go under the foot to the other side, but I want to finish this one before I go to the other side. So what happened there, of course, is generating a weird polygon. This one has 5 faces, this one has 3 faces, so none of them are good. So I need to fix it. How can I fix it? I just simply click from this point to the middle of this line, hit enter on my keyboard. That way I fix the problem. I select my vertex one more time, and I use my move tool, making sure that I move it only in Z and Y, so that I can do that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. Cut from here to that vertex there, press enter, and then grab that one, use the move tool, and move it on Z and Y to get the effect. If I press 3, that gives you a sharper looking corner that is more like what you wanted. Of course, we need to, as I said, we need to go around on the other side. So let's just do that very quickly here. I'm going to click on this guy there, go on the other side right here, all the way up to that one. Actually is this one, and then go around the same manner and this guy comes all the way down here and is going to find its counterpart right there. So if you see it roughly matches, it's not rocket science, but it does the effect. I'm going to click on this one, hit enter. I'm going to do that one too. Hit enter. If I had symmetry turned on, I probably could have done it all with symmetry. It would have been a bit easier. But anyways, we didn't have it, which is okay. You can do it manually too. There. And then this one too. There. So I press 3 on my keyboard. And then you see now. Now, if the edge becomes too sharp, that was because I had probably these guys a little too far closer to the edge. So I'm going to double click on those, move them out, and double click on that. You can call it like here too. I'm just so used to calling them by right clicking, because in the past we didn't have this kit, so it was all done through sub menus, which are these guys. All right, so if I press 3, then you see that leg. So pretty neat. Good idea to increment and save. And good idea to select this guy. This guy has a lot of history, so we're going to delete by type history. And now on the front view, we're going to duplicate the leg. Oh, actually the bottom, it feels that it needs a bit mushy. We need to just sharpen it because yeah, we have some missing edges there. So let's just insert those before I duplicate it. So I'm going to add one right here and another one right there. Now when you press 3, it feels a bit sharper there, not much better. So now I'm going to go and select by object, and I'm going to simply say delete history one more time, delete by type history, and I'm going to duplicate. You see the duplicate tool, Control D if you want to do it with your hotkeys, and that makes a good second version of it. I'm going to just move it over to the other foot, roughly there, and this one I'm going to be renamed. It's going to be his right leg, so R leg, and this one will be his left leg, so L for left leg. So I got legs and body pretty much taken care of, so I'm just gonna stop it right there. And last we have the pelvis and the arms.